all.
Over there.
Okay, we're going to get started. I'd like to call a meeting of the Brook Township Planning Commission, Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. Call meeting to order. First action item is to approve the minutes of our August meeting, which was held on August 25th, 2022. If there are no additions or corrections or omissions, I guess for motion to approve the minutes of August 25th.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? All in favor of approving the minutes of August 25th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move to our open forum. Are there any folks desiring to speak about any items that are on the agenda? And if you have anything that's not consistent with the agenda, there is an opportunity to speak at the end. So we move into our subdivision and land development applications. Jen, if you want to take us through those.
Sure. The first one is the Arders lot annexation plan. This is out on Grandamore Road. It's an existing parcel out there, 411 Grandamore Road, which was just over, not quite 1.5 acres of vacant land. Surrounding that was a larger tract, a 23-acre parcel that contained a house, driveway, septic associated. They want to increase the size of that 1.3-acre lot up to 5 acres, which just over, which brings it into conformance with the RC minimum lot area. And the house, that expanded lot will now encompass the house that was on the 23-acre parcel and all of its accessory buildings. And then the residual tract, when it started at 23 acres, will end up around 18, and that will just retain one barn for agricultural use on there. So the resultant lots, the setbacks, everything does meet the zoning ordinance requirements. They just had one minor drafting note for their surveyor. It more or less complies with the Saldo ordinance. They have to set the monumentation prior to recording of the plan or do a financial security. They've given us draft legal descriptions for the resultant lots. They just need to give me one for the annexation parcel. But outside of that, the plan complies with zoning because it's a minor plan. It's not actually a subdivision creating a lot. It doesn't get into any landscaping requirements unless it would have been a stream for repairing the buffers. So that's really all there is to the letter and the plan. You guys have any questions about the lot line shifts or anything in the review letter? Okay. If not, if you would like to consider a motion to recommend that the supervisors grant conditional final plan approval contingent upon the Technicon September 15th letter. You could do that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions for Jen? All in favor of recommending conditional final, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thanks, Jen.
Keith, that will go on to the Board of Supervisors meeting in October. Whatever the second Wednesday is. I think it may be the 12th.
Okay.
So it'll be on that agenda.
All right.
Okay, they would do the planning commissions and advisory boards, they recommend the approval, but the supervisors are the ones that have to make the ultimate approval.
Okay.
Okay?
Take the next one.
Yeah, and the next one, all of the plans tonight are either lot annexation or minor subdivision plans. There's no development proposed with any of them, so these should move through fairly quickly. All right, so the Oakmans own property that extends on both sides of Talbotville Road. The total acreage is about 48 acres or so, extending on both sides. They would like to more or less just divide it into 2 lots, with the roadway being the boundary of those 2 lots. So I had a couple comments just on showing their zoning data, but the lots overall do comply with the zoning data. So it's just a drafting note for their engineer and surveyor to just modify the zoning table so it correctly reflects the requirements. And then on the north side of Talbotville Road, there's actually several parcel numbers assigned to those tracts, even though it's considered all one lot. So we just indicated they should consolidate all those lots into one, so there's just a single tax parcel number for clarity. The lot is under an ag easement with Chester County Parks and Preservation. They have their approval to subdivide the lot, and I just asked them to put a note on the plans that in the future subdivision or development requires that agency's approval. So everybody's aware of that requirement moving forward. In comment 3, here's a stream that may extend on lot 1. I just asked them to clarify that and label the classified woodlands. Again, just so people are aware of future development restrictions on there. Any zoning questions before I move on to this item? Okay. You need me to repeat something? Okay. For sewage planning, they're doing a non-building waiver, since nothing's intended to be developed at this time. So later on in the meeting, we'll have a motion regarding signing that non-building waiver. Again, similar to the other plan, they'll have to put the pins in before recording of the plan. I think there's just a couple that weren't found out there in the field. One waiver that would be needed, they just have a plan size of 36 by 48. It needs to be that large, slightly larger than the maximum from the township, which is 34 by 44. And that's just to fit the 100 scale plan, just the shape of the lot. It's a very kind of long, narrow lot. Surveyor needs to add a couple items to the plan, just addresses, existing land cover, cartway dimensions. Outside agency approvals, county planning, that did just come in yesterday, I believe, so that one's taken care of. Sewage planning is underway. Comment 7, just for them to show the ultimate right-of-way. And comment 8 would then be your guys' discretion if any landscaping is needed, since they are creating a new lot. But again, there's no development proposed on the lot. The existing house and everything on the south side of Talbotville Road will stay there. But nothing's planned for lot 2 at this time. So, and somebody added, wait, okay. All right, I'll let him in just a second. So, do you guys have any questions on what they're trying to do here or the review letter comments? It appears they can comply with everything. Most of it's just a few drafting comments that he can update the plans, and the only waiver to consider would just be the plan sheet size.
So we probably should take the waiver first.
Yep, take the waiver
All right,
first.
so number 4, the waiver being requested is to exceed the plan size that's required in our ordinance, in our saldo. So if there's a desire to grant that, to recommend granting the waiver, you just need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to grant plan size waiver. Is there any further questions on that? All in favor? supervisors for approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then I guess our next item would be, do we see any need to require any landscaping? Okay, so I don't think we need to take action on that.
No, that can just be noted.
So then the last item would be a motion to recommend conditional final to the board of supervisors for approving the requested action.
And that would be contingent upon Technicon September 19th.
Right. We have a motion, a second? Okay, we have a second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and just we'll jump ahead on the, down to F2, would just be an authorization for the planning commission chair to sign the non-building waiver for sewage planning once it's approved by the township SEO, which is the health department. And that basically just says they haven't done full septic testing on these lots, so being reserved for agricultural use at this time, and there's a note on the plans that warns anybody that may buy these lots in the future about that, so,
Do we need a motion?
Good.
yes.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to authorize the signing of the non-building waiver. No further questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, so ultimately, the planning commission has recommended to the board of supervisors that your subdivision plan be approved. Same thing that I just told Mr. Arters, it will go on there, I believe it's October 12th, board of supervisors agenda, and they would be the ones that would grant the final approval. And then you should just reach out to your consultant, the Register Associates, and make sure that they are going to update the plans in accordance with my letter.
So then they just need to do a bigger drawing or a smaller drawing?
The planning commission recommended that this plan size be acceptable.
Okay.
So our ordinance says the plan sheet can't be bigger than 34 inches by 44, and this is 36 by 48. It's only slightly bigger. And they felt it was justified because of the shape of your lot.
Right.
You know, you'd have to split it into two plans otherwise. So that's it. So they should just address my letter. They can reach out to me if they have any questions as they're doing the updates, and then you should come to the October 12th Board of Supervisors meeting. So you'll get one more letter in the mail from me that basically just states that the planning commission did make the favorable recommendation tonight. So, okay?
Hallelujah. That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well,
If you want to unmute, John should be on now. Okay, well, we want to be unmute.
that's too slow. Can you hear us, John? John? Okay. Okay.
Anything else, Joey?
No, just you.
All right. Anything catch on?
Okay, you want to take
Yeah,
our third?
the third one. John, if you have a copy of the agenda, we're on item D3, which is the Gary McEwen minor subdivision plan on Twin Valley Road. So, we have another minor subdivision plan. This is at the far northern end of the township off of Twin Valley Road. There's an existing almost 27-acre parcel. It is split zoned when the zoning ordinance was redone and the mapping. About 20 acres of it is a mixed-use residential, and then you'll kind of see there's like a bump out in the lot going north on Twin Valley. That's almost 7 acres. That is a business industrial. So they're looking to actually subdivide the lot right along that zoning district boundary line, so that eventually that lot 2 could be developed for industrial purposes. But at this time, both lots are intended to remain in agricultural use as they are now. So the agricultural use as it is now is acceptable through there. And then the future use of lot 2 is noted as industrial, which that's what zoning district it's in. The lot areas meet the requirements. Just ask their engineer to just note on there again if there's any streams, steep slopes, floodplains, woodlands, just so any future buyers would be aware of those features on the property and any constraints that would be related to development for those. Any zoning questions before I move on to Salvo? Okay. Again, minor subdivision plan, similar to the last one we just looked at. Again, sewage planning, since they're not intending to build anything, they're retaining the agricultural uses. They have submitted a non-building waiver, and that's before the Chester County Health Department for their approval. They'll have to set new pins prior to recording of the plan. A few other things to add to the plan, just addresses, cartway dimensions, adjoining owner information, contour lines, those few minor items. We're waiting for the county planning review to come back, but I would expect that to show up before the supervisors meeting. Again, sewage planning, they will show the ultimate right of way along Twin Valley Road. And comment 7, again, is there a need for any landscaping at this time? Again, any plan that would come in for development on either lot, besides just a single-family dwelling, would then come before you for land development. You'd have an opportunity, for the industrial property, in particular, to comment on landscaping needs at that time. So, any questions on their intention here, or anything in the review letter? If not, if anybody wants to consider a motion to recommend conditional final plan approval, that would be contingent upon, I'm sorry, Gary, did you have anything to add? Okay. Should give you the chance. If anybody wants to consider a motion to recommend conditional final plan approval, and that would be contingent upon Technicon's September 19th letter.
I'll make the motion.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So,
And then I'll note that, Gary, you're abstaining.
You don't like that?
All right. And similar to the opens, we would also need a motion. In this case, instead of the PC chair, I'll do the PC vice chair to sign the non-building waiver for Gary's plan once it is approved by the Chester County Health Department. I'm going to hear a motion.
I'll make a motion.
We have a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
you can show that I abstain, I'm not sure I need to abstain on that, but
That's fine. I'll note it
show it
accordingly.
with an
Yeah.
abstention.
Okay. That was all the subdivision and land development plans. There's nothing under zoning hearing board. Under other business, we did take care of the 2 non-building waivers. So I'll turn it back over to Gary for down on agenda item G.
We're now at open forum, so if there's anyone that would like to speak, now, time on any topic that's relatively related to what we do here.
That's John. So if he
Yeah.
has anything.
John, do you have anything?
No, I don't, thank you.
Okay.
What about, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is the time to say it or not, like the Brandywine Terrace and Keystone Trailer Park. And go down. How do they plan on putting trailers in there on this steep hill?
Well, the Brandywine Terrace got relief from the zoning hearing board.
I'm sorry, what?
We're talking about Brandywine Terrace.
Well, I'm keeping it
So
because,
they got relief from the zoning hearing board to be able to place trailers in the steep slopes.
That's the Brandywine Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the units are shown on a grading plan, on how they're placed on each, I'll call it each lot, which was reviewed by our engineers. So it does meet certain grading criteria.
okay. Because we used to use that as a hill to go sledding down when we were kids, because it was so steep. And I was just kind of curious how that was going.
Yeah, they showed a grading plan that's acceptable to the township and to the state for their NPDS permit, so.
Okay, anything else? Anything from any planning commission members? I guess the next action item, you see the list of meetings for next month. The next action item is to adjourn.
Just before you do that, as a reminder, just for your calendars, because October's already here.
Running into November, December.
Your November planning commission meeting is Thursday, November 10th. And your December planning commission meeting is Thursday, December 8th.
What was the number again?
The 10th, it's the second Tuesday. And then it's December 8th. We'll see you. Mark those on your calendars. Yep, December 8th, November 10th. Yep, now you can go back to your.
Okay. Any motion to adjourn?
Motion
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of adjournment? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive.
Good job.
See ya.
Hi, everybody have a good one.
All right, see you guys.